Hey Goals! So for today's video, we are discussing another murder case in the United States, and today we will be discussing a murderer in Alaska. Robert Hansen, otherwise known as the Butcher Baker, was born February 15th of 1939, making him an Aquarius. He was raised in Esterville, Iowa. His father's name was Christian, and he was seen as an overbearing Danish immigrant father. He was often quoted as being big old mean guy. When Robert was a kid, he had a bad stutter and severe acne, so he didn't really have any friends. He ended up turning to hunting and tracking to pursue a solitary environment. At the age of 18, Robert did join the Army Reserves, and from my research, he was in the reserves for about a year. He later moved to Pocahontas, Iowa, and became a drill sergeant at the police academy. 10 years later, Robert, with his second wife, which he ended up actually marrying her in 1986, they moved to Alaska and they raised their 2 children. He ended up actually following kind of in his father's path. His father was a baker, and he actually opened up his own bakery. He was often described as having a mild-mannered demeanor, which unfortunately he used to mask his secret life. In Robert's 20s, he constantly scraped past the law. In the 1960s, Robert was arrested for burning down the Pocahontas County Board of Education's bus station. He only ended up serving 20 months of his 3-year sentence before he busted out, and later on he was jailed multiple times for petty theft. In 1971, Robert was also accused of sexual assault, but nothing ended up happening with that accusation. Robert later ended up confessing that his first murder took place in the 70s, and it was a woman that he described to be a topless dancer or prostitute. He pulled a gun on her to get her in the vehicle, and he ended up stabbing her in the neck and burying her in a shallow grave. Her body thankfully was discovered in the 80s, but unfortunately her body was never identified. This led to a pattern of his killings. He would offer women money to have sex with him, hold them at gunpoint, and then sexually assault them. Between 1970 and 1980, Robert did confess to sexually assaulting at least 30 women and killing 17 of them. Due to his skill of hunting and his pilot's license, he would either fly or drive the bodies to the wilderness area where he would release the women and he would hunt them down. He would then dispose of their bodies in the area. During this time, Robert was actually arrested with assault with a dangerous weapon and theft, but was released on minimal time. By this time, the victims' bodies were in fact discovered, and the police assumed that there was a serial killer on the loose. In 1983, there was a huge breakthrough. A teenage sex worker named Cindy Paulson managed to escape his plane, and he alerted authorities of Robert and his whereabouts. Robert was soon arrested. He claimed the reason for his killings of the women were due to the fact that he was rejected his entire life. In 1984, Robert pleaded guilty to killing 4 women and later on admitted to killing 17. The judge declared him guilty to 4 murders and 461 years plus life without parole. Robert agreed to lead the detectives to where the bodies were, but only 12 were ever discovered. Robert ended up passing away in jail only 30 years into his sentence. At that time, he was the age of 75. His death was ruled as natural causes. The Alaska Bureau of Investigation, or the ABI, and the Cold Case Investigation Unit, also known as the CCIU, are still looking into identified bodies as of October of 2021. So they're still not giving up. They're still trying to figure out who Robert's victims were and put them to their final rest, along with hopefully being able to identify the families of their missing loved ones. I am very thankful that Cindy was able to get away from Robert and finally get him turned in, so that way no one had to deal with this type of situation ever again. So that's going to be the end of this case. If you did like it, please, show some love down below. And if you have any ideas for certain states that you would like to hear, please, by all means, let me know. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so that way you know every time I upload. And I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.